It's normal these days to meet people on dating apps. If you fancy them, you swipe right. So when Annabelle came across Sebastian, a soccer coach, she said yes. They dated for a few months and she trusted him. She said she felt safe. But one horrifying night changed it all.
You're under arrest.
I was screaming, "Stop."
Yeah, I don't know why she wouldn't talk to me or say something.
I was struggling to breathe.
But she can leave.
There was no mistaking that this was rape.
Could you give me your full name and your address, please?
Sebastian Béchot.
Former professional soccer player Sebastian Béchot was coaching the Melbourne Victory A-League women's team, a good-looking and successful sportsman who charmed his victim.
You put your hand on the back of her neck, her face is in the pillow.
But this police interview reveals who Béchot really is.
And while we were having sex, he pushed on my neck, causing me pain and making it hard to breathe.
How does she remember all these details?
He's a convicted rapist. That is actually who he is.
Annabelle relived her horror for days in court and in her victim impact statement.
I was screaming "stop" at the top of my lungs.
4 months before Béchot raped Annabelle, the 31-year-old Melbourne businesswoman was using dating app Hinge. The pair crossed paths and started messaging.
We were chatting for a while and he seemed like a nice guy. We were casually seeing each other.
And did you feel safe with him when you saw him?
Yeah, I felt safe.
Did you trust him?
Yep.
They caught up 3 times and on March 10, 2021 met again at Béchot's West Melbourne apartment.
What started off as consensual sex progressed to him hurting me. He was pushing down on the back of my neck and I was struggling to breathe. I was screaming "stop" this whole time.
What about when she says she's screaming for you to stop? Is that...
No, I would stop if someone says to me, "Stop doing what you're doing."
Okay.
Eventually he did say, "Well, give me pleasure."
So you tried to spit in her mouth again to shut her up. And she put her hand up. She said you spat all over her palm and her fingers.
Police charged Béchot with rape. WhatsApp messages exchanged after his crime were tendered in court as evidence. Annabelle wrote, "I was telling you to stop. It could have been for whatever reason. It's not consent." He replied, "Lol, you giving me your legs open. It's consent."
Can you explain that to me?
Well, if she was on the bed ready for me,
Yep.
I assume that it's consent.
I think it was despicable.
Victoria Police Assistant Commissioner of Family Violence Command, Lauren Callaway.
He is saying there, she's on the bed, her legs are open, that means everything's okay. That is not actually how it works.
Does that tell us that whilst the laws may have changed, the attitudes of so many men hasn't?
Absolutely. It reinforces the need for our laws on affirmative consent. The degradation, the humiliation, being spat in her mouth, being frightened, being hit, those things were not what she agreed to. You need to keep checking in and making sure that the person is still willing to do the other things that you want to do.
Annabelle messaged Béchot, "But when I say stop, that's no longer consent." He replied, "It was only a few minutes, come on."
If she didn't like it, she could have, at least when I was off her, just leave or say, like, "You went too far," whatever, like, he didn't do what she thinks I did.
He's just flat out denying it.
He is, and that's what happens in sexual assault cases.
So if you've got his version and then the victim's version, how do police take that and decide whether to charge or not?
It's a difficult process. We will look for other forms of evidence. Like at times it will ultimately come down to the credibility of the witnesses.
Annabelle says she wasn't afraid of reporting Béchot to police.
I just wanted to make sure, or to the best of my ability, make sure that he didn't do this again, because he could easily meet more women on Hinge.
After pleading not guilty, Beisho's case went to trial, where a jury found him guilty of rape in August last year. Deemed a flight risk, Beisho was taken into custody then and there, until County Court of Victoria Judge Liz Gaynor sentenced him in October to 4 years prison with a non-parole period of 20 months. Sebastian Beisho is now serving time here at this medium security prison in country Victoria, in protective custody after I'm told he was threatened by other prisoners. And of the 12 jurors who decided his fate, the majority were men. Men who believed and backed Annabelle.
I went to court 6 or 7 times.
The hardest part, Annabelle says, was facing cross-examination.
It's like you're being told that you're lying, and you're also forced to remember very painful, uncomfortable things.
Do you think it was worth it in the end?
Yes, I think so.
Victoria Police says it's receiving increasing reports of sexual offences arising from dating app encounters.
They're set up to present people in their best light.
You don't know them, you don't know their friends.
Now doing her best to move forward, Annabelle wants to see more education on withdrawing consent aimed at young men.
It would be very effective if sport can be the face of consent education programs that are funded by government.
I don't think women need to do anything differently. The problem is with men and their behaviour.
The French national will be deported from Australia once he's released from prison. If you or someone you know needs help, it is available. Call 1-800-RESPECT. That's 1-800-737-732.